awesome. We've got Cat Ace, me, and we've got Nose Moose.
All right, we are
It's
live.
me, and
so
we've
let's
got
do.
Nose Moose.
Let's do the clap.
It's me, and
So
we've
let's
got
do.
Nose Moose.
Okay.
Let's do the clap. It's me, and we've got
3,
Nose
2,
Moose.
1. Okay.
It's me, and we've got
3, 2,
Nose Moose.
1. Okay.
Welcome to the Hunter's Hub.
Yes, welcome to the Hunter's Hub. Sorry,
Welcome to
I
the
got
Hunter's Hub.
really
Yes,
distracted
welcome to
because
the
I
Hunter's Hub.
don't have Twitch muted again, so I'm hearing everything 4 times at once, and I'm trying to change the Twitch chat. So yes, welcome to the Hunter's Hub, video game podcast, born of the Monster Hunter
welcome to the
community. This is your
Hunter's
host
Hub,
Fortuan,
video
and
game
today
podcast,
is
born of the
Monster
Monster
Hunter
Hunter
Day.
Day.
This is our third episode of the month, where we're going to focus on Monster Hunter exclusively. And good thing we had a Monster Hunter Direct. I like calling them that, but like an event. So I like calling them that, but like an event.
I call it more like a niblet.
Right? Yeah, we'll get into that.
Sunbreak.
I call it more like a
Sunbreak
niblet.
digital event where we
We'll
basically
get
got a
into
new trailer slash trailers depending on when you watched it.
Yes.
Trailers.
But welcome Ace, co-host. And
Hell yeah.
co-host. And often guest my brother Chauncey.
Hell yeah.
And
Welcome back.
often guest my brother
Hi.
Chauncey. All right. Finally, I fixed that problem. The whole time we were talking, I heard ourselves 4 times in a row. Just an echo. All right. So,
I have something
Yeah,
else to say, but it'll be recorded, so I can't really say it.
what?
There's proof. I just can't.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's just like talking to mom normally, right? She says everything 4 times to you.
Oh, yes. It's yes. 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 All right. We will gloss over that for our own sakes.
Woo!
And yeah, so we're going to be talking about Sunbreak news. A little before we get into that, I do like to talk about what we've been playing. I know Chance and I have been playing a lot of Elden Ring, and we both finished it in a
I
sense.
started Sifu.
And then he started Sifu. I've already finished Sifu. His face.
You don't like seafood?
No, he doesn't. But
I don't.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that Cham is the odd one out when it comes to seafood, mainly sushi.
No, like mom and dad eat fish and all that. Basically, I want low quality crab cakes or just keep it away from me. Like, I want there to be a hybrid consistency. If it's too good, it's just eating crab, and I don't like crab that well. But I like crab cakes.
I am the odd one out when it comes to sushi entirely. No one likes sushi except for me in the house.
Why would I get not cooked food when I could have cooked meat?
Because it's tasty as heck, dude.
And it
Like,
is
You can
cooked.
enjoy
You
it.
need to
It's
go. You need to
chemically
go to a
cooked.
good sushi place.
He's been to
I'll be
good
real.
sushi places.
I've not given it a fair try to be like, I have tried it, and my assessment is nah. It's more like the why would I when I like the other stuff so well anyway? And my perception is nah.
I could give you one of my eel rolls next time we're at Hibachi.
I do like seaweed, honestly, but
You should come to Green Bay and come to Sushi Lover. Say all you can eat. Once you sit down, and then you can just order roll after roll, and you can order multiple rolls at a time. So you can
boy.
so you
so
can
the mom will be all sorts
go
of
on the
colors.
menu. I mean, if
I'm
you're
sure
if
there's
you're
some of it.
weak stomach against fish and or octopus and eel and things like that, maybe.
I mean, I had
Or
like
if you just eat too much.
takoyaki, a couple months ago, where it's like meatballs, but it's octopus. I think that was passable, but like it tasted fishy, so I really wasn't that into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just doesn't like fish in general. So,
Hmm.
but eel
Yep.
doesn't taste like fish at all. To me.
But I love chicken, and I don't think there's chicken roll. So I go places and it's like, you could have chicken and fried rice, or not that. And like,
Mhm.
chicken and fried rice.
Yeah, that's true. So, Sunbreak news happened on Tuesday. We were able to watch it live, and it was just Chauncey and I on the Discord watching it. But it's during a work day, so I get it. And
I meant to be there and I wasn't working, but I mean, morning drop-offs with the kid are usually followed by going back downstairs to bed and passing out.
It's fair. So essentially, we got a new trailer, and that's all the news. Like,
things are coming.
Which the new trailer does have some good news. We do have the confirmation
Release date?
of a subspecies of a new monster, a new monster, a returning monster, and a release date, all in one trailer. So that's good. And the release date, I do believe, is June 22nd, right? Or 20th?
30th, I believe. Because I thought it was the 20th as well, and then I looked at it and I was like, no, that's a Monday. Why would they do it on a Monday?
Dude, video game companies do stuff on weird times sometimes. Sometimes it's Fridays, sometimes it's Tuesdays. I've seen a Sunday before for a big game. Was that Pikmin 3? I could be wrong. I had a housewarming party and the day of Pikmin 3 release. If you remember the housewarming party for our house in Dayton, Chance, that was that day. So, yeah, so the 30th of June, which is pretty early in the summer. So that's good. We don't have to wait too long. I mean, like, what? We're mid-March right now, so April, May, June, 3 months and a couple weeks. Like, not bad.
3 months. So 13 weeks, 14 weeks and 4 days, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty soon. We have a lot to. I mean, I have a lot of games to get through in that time, but after getting over the giant hump that was Elden Ring, it was like 91 hours that I took to beat it. I feel like everything else is going to be downhill as far as like.
Oh my god!
What?
I've been immersing myself in a bunch of side drama that started with Elden Ring, and
is it the guy who was just like pooping all over Elden Ring?
Yeah, and then that bled into a lot more stuff of finding out that he is a bigoted conservative by evidence that I've found, but wants to blame it on his accounts being hacked, even though it happened back in 2018 and he fully has access to these accounts because the Twitter that used to exist is there. Well, it's not there anymore because he took it down. The Facebook page that was in existence is now gone. However, there is a video that I found off of his Facebook because he shared it on the Facebook page, in which a LGBTQ person speaking at a demonstration in Georgia, the country, gets assaulted. And if you scroll down in the comments, his account, so he or the hacker, as he's proclaiming, has happened, like called that person who assaulted the activist a hero. And I'm like, I mean, if it actually was the case that you got hacked, then you sort of have more of an excuse, but I would also posit out there that it is your responsibility then to get it out there and that you've been hacked, and it is more your responsibility to make sure that you are on top of it and take things down, because this stuff was up for years. And one of them that was on the Twitter was in regards to The Last of Us Part 2. And it was footage, behind the scenes footage of like damn it, why am I forgetting her name? Ashley Johnson, who
Mhm.
plays Ellie, and I think the actress who plays Dina dancing. And the comment that the account had left what basically was like, why weren't you a victim of Pulse, the nightclub in Florida where 50 people died?
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
like,
Yeah, I was like, that's. I wouldn't have recognized it by the nightclub's name. There's no way.
yeah. And like, I mean, if you got hacked, that's all well and good, but the account just disappeared now because of all this stuff coming to light. So that means that it's been up for 4 years. It could have been dealt with for 4 years. So, like, at the very least, you should give an apology for not taking accountability sooner and not taking action sooner.
I mean, what you're hinting at is that it wasn't hacked to begin with, because a hacked account doesn't do stuff like that. It doesn't post posts. It DMs people and saying, "Hey, I got this way to make money." It's happened to several people that we know personally, and they have to delete their Facebook account and reopen it and stuff.
Yeah.
Happened
And,
to
like,
a friend of ours named Bert, and he had to make a whole new account and everything.
well, one of my accounts, my Etsy account, got hacked, and someone paid themselves like $160 and then closed my account.
Mhm.
But I was able to reopen the account, change my passwords and stuff, and I got fully refunded by my bank.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I would say his excuse is just like that of like a teenage boy chasing girls, being like saying something really stupid and then being like, "Ha, my friend stole my phone."
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
get what
just
you're
seems
saying.
it just
Yeah.
seems highly suspect that he's coming out with the "I was hacked" thing, and then while that's going on, all these things are disappearing. Like, it seems a a case of too little, too late, given the context of stuff being brought up. I feel like if you actually cared about it, you would have taken it down then, and not 4 years later.
I mean, yeah, it's to me it's obvious that's not the case, but the
Mhm.
so anyways, 30th of June is a lot sooner than I thought it would be. Honestly, I was thinking we were looking at September, to be fair,
Mhm.
which is still summer, but um, you know, like it's surprising, but so I guess let's get into what do we want to start with? Subspecies, new monster, returning monster.
Blood Orange Bishaton is fucking great.
Nicknamed
I love the look.
in good old Monster Hunter fashion, just plain Jane American names, nicknamed Bob. Blood Orange Bishaton. Bob.
I missed that, but I love how I don't know if you saw it, but Kogath's sort of joke guess was actually pretty close to what we actually got.
Blast
It's funny how
Bishaton. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, instead of just like cartoon bombs, it's actually just exploding pine cones.
That would have been hilarious. Like they did like a Bomberman 64 crossover like
Mhm.
skin. I say Bomberman 64, but Bomberman in general. There's more than that title to that series, but yeah, Bomberman just like throwing bombs or something. But I mean, I like the pine cones. The explosive pine cones is actually kind of cool
Mhm.
for an idea, because
It
they are
it
highly
it
flammable.
it makes me think now that he saw Basil Goose with his little bomb podlets, because those strongly to me resemble pine cones as well. Only they grow and explode and stuff like that. At least in the seething subspecies.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I feel like they look more like pine cones unexploded. When you have seething basil goose
mhm.
and they're like the blue things that just swell up, to me they don't resemble pine cones at any point with the swelling process.
Yeah, they're a bit different in that stage, but generally they sort of look like
Yeah,
blackened pine cones, or like
they start as
the
pine
really
cones.
baby ones.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because we have more blast monsters, because we only had like a single attack from Somnicanth being blast, and then also did Teostra have some blast at the end, and that was it. So like that was added monster. So the only source of blast before Teostra was added was a single attack of Somnicanth, which I missed until Teostra. Like I just never saw it. So it's nice to see blast come back. A lot of people were expecting bleed because of oh gosh, what's his name? The vampire dragon.
Malzeno?
Yeah, Malzeno. And Malzeno, I can't, they say it in the trailer. I don't remember which one. But
I mean, same as like Xenojiva, Xenojiva.
yeah.
It's all apples oranges comparisons when it comes to naming.
Or blood oranges. Oh. Because blood orange Bishitan.
Well, that is the perfect cue. I will be right back.
What? Ah, that's rough. So, how do you feel about Bob, which is your favorite default name for something?
Yeah, it seems neat. I mean, it's a nice trend, I guess. We get to see that we're still getting new monsters get subspecies with kind of the expansion game. I'm happy like that aspect of it. Bishitan really didn't mean anything to me before. Sure, the blast variance is going to be funnier because all of a sudden we're getting this difficulty jump with master rank, which I still hate. It's master rank. Like,
well, it was only G rank. I don't even understand why it was ever called G rank to begin with, other than it was just Monster Hunter G, which it's something in Japanese. I don't know.
I just don't like change. Anyway,
that's fair.
Yeah, it'll be funny to get up to the master rank and be like, I can fight you because I have armor and stats and skills, and I can do this. And then blast just does blast damage, and you're gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you'll have some base health increase that'll help with that. But yes, yeah, the way that it looked like it was just throwing out like a minefield of pine cones. At least you only got hit once, right? Like it was.
Ugh. I mean, I'm going to be playing light bowgun, so hopefully I'm going to have that. I'm barely out of range for everything that's super scary with him, like it kind of was before.
Yeah.
But I kind of hope that we'll get some of those same mechanics of the on the tail, and then you knock him over, and then we can pick up 5 blast blood oranges to throw back at him.
Pick up
like that.
Pick up pine cones and throw them back at him. Oh, that'd be amazing.
And that would be like really cool if they're actually moderate damage or something, like a funny strategy if he's in a map with a target monster you have trouble with. Be like, everyone farm 5 pine cones before we go fight Luna Garen and just blast the crap out of him in the beginning of the fight.
Wow, you could be like a melee Haim. With Haim where like the heavy bowguns all just gang up on a monster, just blast it to death. So like you just do that with pine cones, just throwing him at it.
I mean, we've played pretty much every title. Like I didn't import Portable Third like you did. But I'm gonna play all these titles, and silly things like this is like are what gonna give me longevity in a game.
Yeah,
because we're gonna kill it. I'm gonna make all the bowguns, and then I'm probably gonna peter out before we get all the DLC for it. But silly things like this is what's gonna help the helping I do crown hunting with you, because was it 212 great boggy?
232.
It was a lot.
232, but that was before we knew the method, and before we knew that dual quests were a sham, and then there was a lot of factors into that 232 that made it not a viable number.
Yeah, we wasted a lot of time with just basically 0% chances.
Yeah, but we didn't know that because there's not really any information like that.
Baggy.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
Great. Baggy.
So, I don't know. I expect Bob to be fun. I'm I'm excited to see what else they do. Like, because it's hard to like. I understand why they didn't lead with like a somnicanth being like a subspecies, because like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna make a poison one, I guess, instead of a sleep / blast / whatever? Because like or like a bleed. Oh my gosh, a vampire one, Malzeno, corrupted one, Malzeno bit
It just slashes and bleeds you as it's skirkling around.
Ooh, yeah, chum in the waters, as they say. Except you're the
I think
chum.
it'd be interesting if we got I think it'd be interesting if we got yet another subspecies of Nargacuga, and it was a vampiric Nargacuga.
I mean, we already have green, then we had Lucent,
Silverwind or something,
and then Silverwind. So it'd make like the fourth Nargacuga variation. Whew.
Ultra black Nargacuga.
Just get Vampire Arzuris. Just picks you up, and instead of shaking your honey, he's just wringing you dry.
I do like how they're so like leading into the theme. I guess we'll talk about Garen Golem or something was what they called it. So this
Garen
is
Golem. If you just say it really fast.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it's supposed to be Golem at the end, but it's Garen Golem. So Garen Golem, I think, is technically how you would pronounce it in one fluid motion.
But it looks like Oda Garen and then Golem. So it's Garen Golem, whatever. Anyways, he's Frankenstein. He's just Frankenstein's monster.
I was really on the he kind of looked like an orangutan.
Yes, he does look like that, but he's also got the square head and like the very he's modeled very much after the old style Frankenstein's monster. He doesn't have like straight up like screws out of his neck, but he's very much like the beefy tank. Now I do like, this is one of the few monsters that we have that is dual element. This is the second time we've seen this. Also, coincidentally with water. It was also with water. So instead of water, lightning with starts with an M or an N?
Namiel.
Namiele. There you go. Namiele being water lightning. Now we have a water fire with Garen Golem. And
that way, it makes me think of Hitmonchan.
What, fire and ice punch?
Yeah, I just had all the element punches. Like, it doesn't really matter who I am. I can do all the punches.
That's fair. But yeah, no, his what do they say? His left arm is water, his right arm's fire. And they say lava in particular. Like they were like magma arm. It's like, holy cow. That's a little extreme, isn't it?
Like, this is moss and does water damage. That's pretty chill. Magma.
Yeah. But I do like that it is based off of another Western Okami, or what do they call them? Not Okami, is it? I'm very bad at Japanese words.
Okami or what is it?
Well, the word for demons.
Blanking on it.
Yeah, the word for demons. Whatever it is, I can't remember.
Pony.
Oni. There you go. Oh, Oni. I thought you said pony. I was like, oh, sure, yeah. I just watched
Little Pony.
I just watched the My Little Pony movie with the girls today, so that's where my head was. That was fun.
I mean,
it's all right. I still have trouble going into restaurants and being like, "What's your name?" Pope. How do you spell that? Really? You speak English and you can't spell Pope?
Mm-hmm.
Pope. P.O. What was after that? Happened at Wendy's today. It's like, I get it. Working fast food, it's probably super stressful now. But this has been like our whole life of, I bet you know how to spell Pope. I think you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You just might not have the mental space to think it out at the moment, but I believe in you.
I've seen I've seen various accounts of fast food and like service workers accounts of like how customer service hasn't gotten better. It's gotten much worse because now that people are out and about, they have their freedoms. They're just expecting that to translate into they get everything they want, and if they don't, they're allowed to treat you however, which is not the case.
Saw a little bit of that. I think this is the first time in my life that I've seen, like, we had a group of friends. We were playing board games, and then we had 3 different orders, so it's easier to go in. We go in an order, and we're waiting. This guy comes in from the drive-through while his car is in the drive-through window, and comes in and is basically like, "Where's my food?" And a 30-year-old bulky tall guy talking to what looks like a small 18-year-old girl, and she has to be like, "We're sorry, we just made the chicken. We're making the chicken sandwiches. It takes time to cook food."
Yeah.
And you're just like, you don't need to be a jerk. Like, it's a weekend. You're at Wendy's,
especially
at like 6 o'clock.
Especially,
come on, man.
Especially like the chicken. Chicken always takes longer because I'm pretty sure they have more processes that they have to go through than just burgers. Because burgers they usually keep at the ready because it's the most popular item on the menu.
Yeah.
Where it's like chicken and fish are a little bit more exterior.
Well, also chicken has a lot stricter cooking rules. You're not allowed to have pink in a chicken. It's just bad.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant by processes.
Yeah.
Like from what I understand, most of it is already pre-cooked, except for in some cases.
I don't have experience with that because the one fast food restaurant I worked at, Long John Silver's, nothing was pre-cooked at all. It was just frozen. So, but it's much different from a burger. You just,
yeah. Well, in that case, then, yeah, I could be wrong. Definitely.
You just threw it in a fryer, though. Like, it's different.
It's just like disappointing to be like, the world's opening up. People are trying their best. The people working at fast food are stressed out because they're training someone new every 14 seconds. And then you got colossal jerks.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. Like, pandemic kind of poked a hole in a lot of like the falsities of being able to work these jobs and support yourself. In a lot of cases, you have to work more than one job, especially if you work in an area where the cost of living is higher than what you can make.
Yeah.
There's a lot of serious commentary today with Monster Hunter news.
Well, be real. Yeah. The Monster Hunter news is completely terribly short.
Well, yeah. So I will say, before we go any further on this, I have said that I would like for them to really not show a lot because they overshown what was in Rise. Because we knew everything in Rise aside from the bosses, right? But like, we're not there yet because we're not at the end of the advertising campaign, and they said they're going to show more. But like, I feel like this was a little too much on the too little end, especially this big event, and it was just simply a trailer that was the new news, and that was it. The rest of it was like straight up like marketing PR stuff. Like,
I mean, it was a nice tidbit, but it would have been nicer to be like, hey, we're showing off a new trailer at this time. Stay tuned for commentary afterwards, instead of making it feel like a really significant announcement. Like, I feel like...
Yes, they made it sound a lot more significant.
They got us all dressed up to take us out to a nice dinner and a movie, and they got us McDonald's. We went back and watched Netflix. Not that it's a bad time, but I just don't think it's what we were thinking.
They pulled the new TikTok meme trend thing of like, they told us to get dressed up for someplace expensive, and then they took us to the gas station.
Roller dogs.
That's always the best way to go. Jeez, I've never had a roller dog. Not once.
I have a Quick Trip. They're pretty good.
I like hot dogs, but that's a limit. That's
frequently.
A line I have not crossed.
I'm not big on hot dogs. Like, Speedway has egg rolls that I'll eat that are kind of in that same thing. But it's,
Right.
cabbage and pork, like, can't go that wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Quick Trip has some highly processed sushi if you're interested.
Well, I do have a
we
will.
don't have a Quick Trip. It's not a thing here.
I don't really have a will. It's just
Well-
Cham knows what he has to do when I perish.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Those two Gaia's cradles going up in flames. Whoosh. For
$1,000 a piece. Like,
Yeah. For reference, if you're not
joke about that now.
if you're not up on Magic card prices, he has a card that is over $1,000 by itself, and we're going to burn both copies he has in front of friends. Now,
It came. Ace looked surprised. So it came from, because stuff happens. Like there was someone who died my senior year of high school that didn't get to graduate. They gave her an honorary degree because she died a couple months before graduation. Someone I knew in college died a few months after graduating college. So, like, this is something that's kind of been loosely on my mind. So I told my friends at some point, this has been years ago, that, when I die, I'll probably just, all my Magic decks that my friends would play, I'll probably just give them out to people, even people I don't know that well, because it'd be a nice thing to do instead of just, like, hawking them for 30% value or something.
mm-hmm.
So then it became friends driving the car after I said that, and I was the only one on the passenger side of the car. So he's like listing to the left or to the right really oddly. I was like, "What are you doing?" Well, I could blam that side of the car and only you go, and then we can get your Magic decks. I was like, "But no, why would we do this? Is it that important?" Someone involved into like, you know what?
We're just gonna burn.
We're just gonna burn. We're gonna burn the expensive stuff in front of you as part of the reading of the will.
Or see what you do is you leave it up to a wheel of fate, and like the decks are like tiny slivers. The decks are like tiny slivers, and then like there's like larger chunks that are just like coupons from the ad book.
Hmm.
My big thing now is like Cham / some other adult has to liquidate all my assets, buy as many like gold coins as they can, put it in a treasure chest, and then there's some law agency that goes and buries it in the property that I own. And then the reading of the will is handing like his kids a treasure map to the buried gold.
Fair enough.
Yep. He's got some crazy ideas for when he dies, apparently.
But the reality is,
we're gonna have to. Should we gouge out one of your eyes so you can become one-eyed Willie?
Reality is, I'll probably be sitting on some deathbed like, I just don't care.
One-eyed
My
Kate.
stuff's here. Here's my passwords for stuff.
The secret is.
Yes.
Hot sauce.
So back to Garen Golem.
Garen Golem.
Garen Golem.
Mm-hmm.
Frankenstein's monster in ape style. The funny thing is, he's listed as, I think he was listed as a fanged wyvern, along with Lunagarin, and I think that was funny because it's like, wait, this isn't a primitus or whatever.
Fanged beast.
Fanged beast. Maybe he is a fanged beast. Maybe he is, and maybe I just
Here,
read that wrong.
I'll look it up.
I bet he would be, because that's like what Rajang went
I saw
to from
fanged, and I
Primitus.
thought fanged wyvern right off the top of my head, and I was like, that seems off. That seems really off.
Fanged beast.
Fanged beast.
Bam.
So he is a Rajang
The newer monkey people, yeah.
instead of the primitus. Yeah, the fanged beast. So he is a monkey then. Okay, that
He
threw me
sort
off.
of reminds me of like a combination between Duramboros and Rajang. but
See,
without
I
the
thought it was
lightning.
Chauncey. I thought it was Duramboros right off the bat because you see those like mossy plates, and you're like, oh, that's got to be Duramboros, right? Like that's Duram right there, you know.
I was not in that camp because I was just waiting to see what they had, and like retrospectively, I can't think of like any real myth that they could or like cryptid, so to speak, that they could label or classify Duramboros off of.
No, they're not
Western.
doing that for return. Only new monsters are based off of Western Oni.
Right.
So, which is
Can we get a Mothman?
That's one of the jokes I made. We need to get a Mothman monster.
We need a Nessie. We need a Mothman. We need a Jersey Devil.
A Wendigo?
Chupacabra.
Wendigo, Chupacabra. Like I'm excited to see what they do with some new monsters if they
I
go
kind
down
of
this
hope
path.
there's no Wendigo, because I can just see something with bloody stumps floating around and just being like, nah, I don't need to do this.
They probably will do something a little more tame for the Wendigo. I doubt they're going to do with a monster that chewed its own feet off from starvation for Monster Hunter. They don't go that dark. Like the kind
like
of Dracula, we didn't get a Nosferatu for Malzeno. We got a Count Dracula. You know what I mean? Like the cartoony version. We didn't get like the full on like scary horrific bat creature. Although we did get the bat. There is another new monster. It's a small one. The sort of bat / goblin looking joggies.
Mm-hmm.
Prey, yeah. And that's something we talked about a little bit. I heard some negative comments about it, but reality, it sounds like we're in a new area, and it sounds like just in Monster Hunter universe, basic building blocks of ecosystems are some raptor is some low-level predator. Yeah. And we're in a new area, so it makes sense that there's something different.
Yeah, I like their ears. I like the very large sideways ears that make them look like little goblins. I really do like that. It's a fun one. But for back to Garen Golem, Garen Golem. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. It's a difficult one for me. How tough do you think this fight's gonna be? Because they now granted they usually make it look like it's pretty tough in the trailers because they always make the hunters really mess up on the dodges and everything. But some of those moves did look tricky, like especially like the jump up and slam down. Like if you're using a slower weapon, like you got to do some perfect dodge timing, I would think.
Very Gosharog level of difficulty. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the hardest, like tier 3 monster of a difficulty, but in that realm of you may not actually have to fight it, but it's gonna be a test of introductory learning the first time you fight it. Like, can you realize what it's getting ready to do as it's about ready to just smash you?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And like just entering in at the master rank, I feel and hope that it's going to be like a decent fight, and that it's going to be actually challenging because I want master rank to sort of take me to task, because I feel like I got through Rise pretty easily, being a seasoned hunter, and really the only big challenge that I've had so far has really been the harder apexes.
Yeah,
so far.
Some of the event quests are pretty rough.
Elder Dragons.
Mm-hmm. Well, having crown hunted, especially the apexes, you get pretty rough on some of them, but
I think we're also coming off of like Rise came after
Iceborne.
Please don't touch me there, Elytrion and Fatalis from Iceborne.
Yeah.
So, I think, as I said, you have to enjoy the suffering because there will be suffering with those two, and I love those fights in the end. But coming off of that and going back to something without the master tier, we just weren't having that level of punishment, and maybe that'll just come back again with master rank. And I kind of, it's may have not been said enough to be public knowledge, but my favorite monster is Camellius. So I could hope that we'd have like some horrid like phantom camellia subspecies that's almost never visible or something like that. That's the kind of suffering I need for like, here's one of the last additions to Sunbreak. We expect hunters to struggle heavily with this. Yes.
That'd be a way. That'd be a way to bring back paintball successfully. I would say. Have it be a Chameleos that stays camouflage for vast amount of times, and you have to actively paintball it a couple of times, so that you have to be able to track it with like the paint splotches that float around. I think that would be a cool way to change up his fight too.
Yeah, I mean, with the owl now, they could just sort of like, it's just on the map, and I guess that's why, what the owl does. But
I mean, cheesy play wouldn't change. You'd just be shooting they're not called crags, sticky ammo into it. You're like, look, floating sticky ammo. That's a monster.
Yeah, but I mean, they also made it a lot easier to see him in general. Like, you do see a translucent distortion now instead of him just being what seems just straight up invisible in the older Monster Hunters. So, like, I don't think his invisibility is nearly as useful as it has ever been. Because, like, I've been able to fight him just
if
fine.
we were making it the way that we're sort of talking about, I would expect them to tamper with the translucency and bring it down to pretty low, if not zero resolution for the majority of the fight, and have there be those little shimmers here and there when it interacts with something in the environment, or like knocks into you, or just touches the light in a certain way.
I don't know, man. I don't really see them doing that, unfortunately. I just don't. They don't.
Me neither. I'm just saying it'd be cool.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, they just don't normally change things. What else? Like, so we got. So we also we haven't talked about Ostelos coming back. So Ostelos, how do we feel about another one of the Fated Four? So we've seen 3 out of the Fated 4 now return since Generations Ultimate. With In World, we had, oh crap, Tailblade, Glavenus. There you go. And then now we've had Mitsune, just sort of like a regular monster. Now we're getting Ostelos in the master rank. Are we going to see, before we get into Ostelos himself, which I've seen some clips of him, he's different. He's very different. As far as like difficulty. But what are the chances we get Gammoth too? And then also Glavenus. Because like, how do you have like 3 out of 4? Like, if we get Gammoth, I don't see like, or Glavenus, I don't see us not getting the other. How do you get 3 out of 4 and don't get the 4? Of course, then again, how do you get a Basaris without a Gravius? But whatever. This is a game of surprises, I suppose. So, like, how likely do you think we're going to see Glavenus and Gammoth now because of Ostelos?
I don't think it changes anything.
Okay.
I mean, the castle map could potentially be like the guiding lands map for Sunbreak, because it seems to have a lot of different biomes just by the footage that we've seen of it so far.
Yes, yeah, it's like 4 different biomes in itself. Like, pretty cool.
So I think it could be possible that it's just a large map, and it could be that they all localize to a certain zone in that area. It'd be cool if we got all the Fated 4, but I don't know exactly how likely it would be. I mean, we'll have 2 of the 4, assumedly at launch, unless if we get more reveals that show more coming back.
Yeah,
I feel like
that. I'm just saying.
I feel like it would be. Yeah, I feel like it would be appropriate to bring Acidic Glavenus back, since he's more of a sword master with his tail, and we're essentially getting like the Western castle and sort of the knights in armor theme.
Sure, but Acidic Glavenus was based on the longsword, which is traditionally katana, which is more of a Japanese weapon. Greatsword, which would actually be sort of like a Scottish thing, which would have castles. Like
either or, man.
I think
I'm all for every monster coming back, but
base Glavenus on that argument alone, base Glavenus is more likely than Acidic.
I prefer Acidic.
Okay.
I really like what they did with Acidic.
I think he's cool.
So-
He's just based off of a Japanese weapon, whereas base Glavenus is based off of, well, their version of Greatsword, which is, not the same as the real life weapons that would be that size, but yes. Although they do get they don't use it the same, but Claymore kicks are a thing. They had special boots that you could kick the Claymore out of the ground. So they kind of have kicking with used to have kicking with great swords pretty prominently.
Maybe they'll make like a Scottish inspired subspecies of Glavenus that has a lot of green on it and gets like a giant longer greatsword.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get subspecies of things that weren't in the base game. I don't know if that's ever happened, has it? Aside from Crimson Glow Valstrax. That's the only time I've seen a variation of a monster that didn't have the base monster in the game.
I mean, it
opened the door.
Similar to like getting Seething, Bagel Butt, and the weird Valhazak. I forget what the name of the G rank.
Death something. Death Stench, maybe?
Death Cloak.
Death Cloak.
I think.
Yeah.
Black Veil Valhazak.
Yeah, it's like, it feels, because they did things like that, even though they came from the original game, like, why not? Why not give us, not the Gamma's a good explanation, because I don't think we're going to necessarily get the Faded 4, but, oh yeah, there's Gammoth here, but they're huge and they're light blue because this region. Like I think that makes more sense than just blanketly being like, Rathalos looks all the same all over the place.
Yeah, but he does. And they do that.
I'm just saying, there's room for it. It'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool just to be like, oh, here's Garen, but there's not rotten stuff around, so he just doesn't look the same. So it's a subspecies.
Right. And speaking of which, Garen looks pretty awesome. Like, we actually got to see Garen fight instead of the teaser. And Garen fighting looks scary.
Yeah, he looks pretty ferocious and fast. So
he's like, normal mode, I'm on all fours, and then in rage mode, I'm on my back legs. Not unlike Gossarog. Gossarog stands up after a while, but Gossarog does that in both forms. I kind of like that because it does play into his werewolf likeness, because like the hybrid form would be the on two legs, whereas like the full wolf form. So I kind of like that. I don't want to lose sight of Ocelos, though, because have you guys seen some clips? I saw a clip on Twitter of him being in the Shrine Ruins. Have you seen some of the extra stuff of Ocelos, like in the new? Like, they have changed him a bit.
Yeah, because that's, I think I sort of minutely touched on it at the beginning of the show. We technically got like 2 different trailers, because there was the one they showed in the event, and then there was like a gameplay trailer, or like the full trailer that actually showed like fight footage with him in it.
Yeah.
Or like more extended footage.
Yeah, so it
was a bit weird that we got that part 1 and part 2 in the same day.
But like the lightning wasn't going the way it normally goes. Like, it was a lot more, it felt like erratic in that small of a clip. But it wasn't as, I mean, it goes out, right? It's always been these pillars of lightning that go outwards, but like it was coming back towards it too, which I don't think I've ever seen before. And maybe that was just a trick of the camera, because they don't really show you in the fight what's happening. They just show you like a quick clip of what's going on. And it looked like the lightning was actually going back towards him, which is like, I don't remember seeing that. I don't even think that happens with Bolt Reaver. Like, I'm not.
I mean, that'd be a pretty cool ability if that is indeed what is going on. Just the idea that it can like essentially like reverse the polarity and call the lightning back to it, giving it like extended range and extended attack, essentially.
Yeah,
that definitely make him a lot more challenging.
But like I said, it was such a small snippet that I could be misinterpreting what I saw at the same time. But I don't know. It looks pretty it looks pretty different, which I'm kind of glad. I mean, even Mitsune had a bit of a change and rise, so I'm not surprised that Alstalos has some updates as well to his move set. But like aside from like that news, which is good news, I'm not really disappointed on the news we got. It's kind of it. Like I really expected more. Even though again, I don't want to be spoiled by everything. It's just like it felt like a lot of hubbub for a little information. They could have just dropped the trailer, said, "Hey, trailer's dropping," and then literally everything else was just like really like PR packet stuff that would be going to stores and stuff, not really general consumer stuff. Like I don't feel like, or PR like stuff that would be going. It was weird. It was very like after the trailer was very clinical. It felt like if you watch the whole thing, it was like da 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 da, and it's like it's more information based on what we saw in the trailer, more of it spelled out, but like.
I mean, I'm probably definitely going to slap on and exclusively use that Shiba Inu costume for my dog.
I don't really like the idea of putting the real world suits on the dog and the cat. I just don't. It just doesn't. I don't care. They're not going to have Blinky. Like Blinky is not going to be a thing. So, because she's a mutt and she's a cow dog because she's black and white and looks like a cow.
It'd be funny if they both introduced like the real world skins, but then also gave them like the real actions of the dogs, because like Shiba Inus are notoriously like neurotic and stuff, and like there's tons of footage of them just like screaming online, and like imagine if they had like a pug and it's just like wheezing and snotting all over the place and whatnot.
Ugh. I don't think we want that. I don't think we want that at all. So,
just goofy nonsense ideas. I know.
Sure.
This is why I'm not a developer. It's okay. I understand.
I don't know. Having the wheezy, terrible health pugs, I just don't. I'm not into that.
Well, that's what happens when you do purebred breeding. It like screws up the species because you're going for exclusive looks.
I mean, I had my late dog Merlin was a Brussels Griffin. I'm well aware. He was he was messed up. And he didn't even live 5 years. I think he was 5 when I had to put him down. Like he was young for a dog, like a third of what he should have lived. But you know, not much you can do when they entirely lose the use of their back legs, and no one knows why. Not a sign. However, we don't have a lot of time until release. Like we said, we've only got roundabouts over a little over 3 months. So I'm actually kind of thinking we're not going to get a ton more info on, like it's been pretty sparse. We've seen what, 2 new monsters, 1 returning monster up until now, and then today was a new monster, a returning monster, and a subspecies. So like as far as like as we have in Sunbreak, we have just to sum it up, we have Malzeno, we have Golem, we have Garen, which are the 3. And then we have the subspecies,
the 3 lords.
The 3 lords, which are the 3 new monsters. Then we have a subspecies of an existing monster, Bob, Blood Orange Bishotan. And then we have 2 returning monsters, Ocelos and Shogun Sienitar. So we only have seen 6 things, right? And when they're saying massive expansion, I'm fully expecting another 30, like Iceborne was. Iceborne was another 30-ish monsters. Like, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it was a lot. It wasn't 10. It was more. It was a lot more.
And I'd expect, in addition to the castle, probably a couple more maps, because we're going to essentially to another continent.
Yeah. I do expect more maps than that, and it'll be interesting to see what those are. And we're gonna have new monsters per those maps as well. So, like, I'm tentatively saying 30 new monsters. It might sound like pie in the sky, but I'm 100% basing this off of the last time we got the exact words of massive expansion, which was Iceborne, which was, it really, really almost, I think it doubled the roster in World. And World was 34 or 33 before Iceborne. So it was lower. It was lower than Rise for sure, because Rise we're sitting at 40 something right now. So I could see at the low end being 20 monsters we're getting. And if you base that off of 3 months left, we're not seeing them all. I think that we're actually going to have surprises in the game.
That would be my favorite thing. Like, of all the nonsense they could pull, just don't announce a new monster, put Kurupeku back in the game, and you're just messing around, and he's not even your target, and he looks at you and does some scream. You're like,
that's new.
What was that?
Or like that kind of sounded like, oh, could you imagine a Kurupeku doing like a Cianotar scream? Just the and you're just like, what the heck is it choking to death? Oh wait.
It just makes like the crabby sounds from the original Pokemon games.
Is it spitting something up? Good.
Yeah.
Just get a monotone voice. I pinch. What?
Oh yes. my favorite Renaissance artist, Leonardo da Vinci.
So eventually we're gonna have to do like an official like roster thing like we did before. Like
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, no.
I was gonna ask now. Besides Bishitan, what do you think we would see as a returning monster getting a subspecies and/or variant treatment?
I could see us getting one for. I'm trying to think of Gossarog, right? I could see us getting a variant for Gossarog. And if we're assuming because of Malzeno, because of vampirism, I'm going to guess that we're going to get a bleed variant of Gossarog.
Well, see, I like that idea, and I'd like it to go off my original idea of being like a fire/volcanic variant that hardens magma or lava onto its claws and has like obsidian blades. And since that stuff is notoriously like sharp, there's your bleed. I'd also like to see
I was thinking like Wolverine. You just like whoosh.
Yeah. Or just get like the obsidian blades right on like the claws, and they just extend out like super far. Like the what from X-Men 2, the one lady that's just got the fingernails that are the blades instead of coming through her hands.
Yeah.
Just I'd also like to see a subspecies or variant of Rocknekodaki.
Sure.
Let's put our Stella back.
For that too. I mean, again, I'm all for everything returning at once, but that will not happen.
I could see us getting like, what would what if we just get like a trifecta of spiders? We get Nerscylla back, we get a Rockna subspecies and a new spider all in the same package, because like spiders are a very Western horror thing. Like spiders are very popular in Western horror, so like I could see that being a new monster too, some sort of Temnoceran as well, another Temnoceran. I'm still voting for Akura Vishima. I still want to see a scorpion.
Mm-hmm. Or what if we got like a full-fledged praying mantis?
I mean, we got one. Auto Ka.
No, I mean like a full-fledged one that is like modeled after it, can fly during combat, and has like the super fast strikes.
Also,
but instead of having like the like pincher type things, it's just like a deadly pokey stabby arm.
That's jab.
That's their take on Mothman. There you go. Is a praying mantis. This the with a bunch of moth like wing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I could also see oh gosh, what is his name? The owl. Malfestio. Malfestio making a return, because I'm just trying to think of like Western horror stuff. Like owls are very prominent in Western horror for like the hoot and that kind of stuff. Like Sean said, the Wendigo, so that would be an interesting one. I don't know how they would do the Wendigo, because the Wendigo is a very extreme example as far as like violence.
A mutated Anteca.
Guerin. Just a blood Guerin.
They could do a literal and superstitious take on Chupacabra, because you figured out eventually it wasn't really a monster, it was just mosquitoes. So you could do like a bug colony that kind of takes a shape that makes you think of like the goblin thing that is the Chupacabra. And you deal with, as you're hitting it, you can realize, oh, there's actually like a queen that just has her swarm around her is what it really is. And it takes the shape of something more menacing.
So what you're saying is an update to the Vespoid Queen. Wouldn't that be terrible?
We got an update to the Shakalaka King.
I'm just talking like
Shakalaka in World, in Iceborne.
I still hate them for that. Of all the things for them to make a reference to. Jeez.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool, because like you actually play it, the myth and what truth there might be to something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things that they could do. I think my favorite idea is something like a spider-like thing coming because of Western horror.
Worst crossover ever. We can just fight some Sharknadoes.
I was also going to say, in keeping with the theme of, them advertising Malzeno as being like, oh, this is the problem, and then it not actually being the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible they would maybe have it be like an eldritch Lovecraftian horror as the secret to whatever calamity is befalling the kingdom?
A winged illithid wyvern?
Yeah, or have like a
you just
Cthulhu
die.
beast, or like a cousin to Nakarkos.
Yeah, I was going to say I could see Narcarkos being the swing on that, being like a return to Narcarkos. That'd be cool, actually. That'd be a really cool fight to revisit, because not a lot of, decent amount of people played that, but you got to think majority of Monster Hunter fans now are World and Post. You know what I mean? Like. It's staggering. Like it used to be like, hey, I started in this. Hey, I started in this. But it's staggering the amount of people that started post World. Like, it's like, it's probably a 50-50 at this point. Like it, or even more. Like
I was gonna say it's probably more, just because it took off on current gen, and I think that it's possible that the newcomer numbers either for a while or temporarily blew past. Like the pre-existing base, and whether those numbers retained, I'd be interested to find out. But
I mean, you have a lot more people covering Monster Hunter as well, right? Like, Eric's and Gaijin Hunter and people like them have always been covering Monster Hunter, but now you have people like Maximilian Dude, right? And Maximilian Dude, he did a whole trailer reaction for Sunbreak. And he's just like, I don't even know crap about older monsters. What's Ostelos? And people are like, telling him in his Twitch chat what Ostelos is and stuff like that. Like, so we have like some big names, in the gaming Twitch space that have started with World also being new to this as well. So you can kind of see that. It's interesting. It's interesting to me to see those people's reactions to new monsters and stuff. They're like, this is rad. I totally love this monster. It's like, yeah, you could have been playing this ages ago, but it took till World, and it's fine. It's fine because you couldn't get it. The one part where I'm just like, oh man, really? It's like, well, anything before World sucked, and I was like, no, it didn't. It was amazing. Even the first game was amazing. As much as I gripe on the quality of life being so terrible in that first game, all the things we love about the game started in game number 1. They were there. The awesome fights, those super dunks on monsters that people do, like those were a thing. They showed them off in the trailer. In fact, I pulled one off. Rathalos, for those of people who don't know and didn't play the original Monster Hunters, I think they stopped doing this move in Freedom Unite. I don't even know if Rathalos does this in Freedom Unite anymore, where he does the circle around. If he does, I haven't played Freedom Unite in a long time, but
no, he does.
So he'll fly up in the air and he'll dive bomb, and it's much like how we treat Valstrax. Like Valstrax, like, oh, it's such a cool idea, and like, hey, for those Elden Ring people, Radon, like his thing is he does that.
Yeah.
Except there's no way to knock him out of it. You just die if you're in the way. But like it used to be like a thing, like a dunk, to have him swoop in and actually hit him in the head as he's swooping towards you and knock him out of the sky. And I actually pulled it off.
My favorite things about him doing that move are on the Forest and Hills map. If you're on the exterior locations, he'll go off the edge of like the map where you're on and just be on lower levels
and just stand on the distant terrain like it's a wallpaper.
Yeah, on the the wallpaper render.
Yeah,
and then I think it's the old volcano. There's a certain zone where if he goes into that move, you can just run in the same direction that he's going, and if you follow it well enough, it'll actually screw him up, and he'll like become sideways because he like tries to like outmaneuver you, and so he'll like just be flapping his wings and be like sideways and all askew.
Yeah, that
that's
used
always
to
one
happen.
of the funny things that I love to do.
That used to happen a lot of the time, actually. It used to be like, oh, you're standing in a weird spot. All right, I'm going to come at you sideways. It's like, what? Really? Yeah, he's done that. I've seen him do that quite a bit.
If I remember correctly, it would cancel him out of the animation, though. He wouldn't do the dive. He would, like, reset because it just couldn't get the angle on you to do the dive. So he would just, like, be sideways and flap towards the middle and then just land.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. It's been a long time, but I've seen that, yeah. So I don't know. Is there any other ideas you guys have that, like, what we're going to see else, or?
Well, nice to see new stuff. We'll just see. I mean, I don't put a lot of speculation effort into this, so be happy to see what we get, and really just not gonna. I mean, it'd be neat to see Hermitar come back since we're getting Siennatar, but again, we get partial groupings of things that used to always be together at times. So
Well,
we've had Rajang so much without the other two, Blanganga and Kongalala.
right. Yeah, they've been absent since Freedom Unite, haven't they? Both of them? No, we had them back in Generations. We had them back in Generations.
I played against them as a cat. Like, yeah, we had them in Gen U.
So
I'd definitely like to see more Neopterons and Temnocerons, just because I want more bugs and Arachnids in the game. I feel like they are highly underrepresented,
I mean, Plesioth.
having only a handful each. Yeah, Plesioth too.
The Leviathans.
Hey, there's your Nessie.
Plesioth.
You could just literally replace Nessie with Plesioth.
I think they're doing that exclusively with new monsters, though. I don't think we're going to see anything sort of shoehorned into a Western mythology at all that already existed. Like, if they do, like I said, an owl, I don't think it's going to be Malzeno. I think it's going to be a new owl that sort of fits a more horror theme rather than Malzeno. And then if we do, it would probably just be also getting Malzeno. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Malfestio. I'm saying Malzeno.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I had to catch myself there. The names are so similar sometimes. Forgive me. Not Malzeno. Malfestio being the owl. If we get another owl monster and Malfestio is there, I think it's because they're like, well, we did that one. Why not just use Generations Malfestio as well? I'm excited because I kind of like this horror theme they're going with. Even though Rise does not feel scary in the least. It's just I kind of enjoy because we're getting a lot of cool ideas. Like Rise had some really cool monsters that were introduced, like Goss and Somnicanth being a siren, which I'm not even sure a siren was in Japanese lore in its stricter sense. I know there are some Oni that are like that, and maybe they repurpose that, but a siren I thought was a Western.
I believe there was. I believe it's essentially the same thing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it has its own name.
Sure. Yeah. But they do reference
but it's essentially the same thing.
They do reference it as a siren, at least in the localized versions. It may be referenced to whatever it is in Japanese culture as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what other things we get. Of course, returning monsters are always cool. I'm happy to see the crabs come back. We're having almost all of the types of monsters now. Like, I don't think we're missing one anymore because technically Neopatrons are the Vespoid that we have. Is it Vespoid or Bernab? We have Vespoid. So, and Rise, don't we?
Benabra.
Are you sure?
I just played recently. I'm pretty sure it's Benabra.
I played today.
They both. Then maybe we have both. I know we at least have Benabra. And they both have the ability to like supercharge their sting to paralyze you.
Yeah.
Because it's a pain in the ass every time it fucking happens to me.
But we don't have Hornitars, I believe.
Oh, and it's even more a pain in the ass going back and playing Freedom Unite, where you're like, they've done it to me multiple times in a row in like the span of like 2 strikes. Paralyzed, get up, mine, stab, mine, poke, get paralyzed again. Why must you torture me?
Yeah, it was just they didn't have like a super poke in the old ones. They just every once in a while would paralyze you. Yeah. And they were rough.
And now they have their I'm gonna get you, where they wiggle their butts. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, because you can tell it's gonna paralyze when it does that.
I
don't know.
Oh, I mean, we could get potentially a Bigfoot monster, you know?
Bigfoot.
Other than like the sort of Bigfoot / Yeti that what's his
Goss.
nuts is. Gossarog.
I don't think Goss fits Yeti though. You could generally do that, but he's more based off of that butcher thing that's in. Oh, what's that anime? Full Metal. It's the same
Mhm.
Oni that that guy that with the meat cleavers based off of. I don't think that has anything to do with Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who I'm talking about? Chance, Full Metal Alchemist. He's the butcher ghost guy with red eyes. He's in a suit of armor. He's super crazy. They call him the Butcher or something like that.
It's vaguely familiar.
But he's the
And
same.
you gotta
Here you
remember,
go.
I'm like 75 anime deep now, past that. So
Here you go.
it's just a toad.
The Loveland Frog Man. These 3-foot tall frogs have been spotted in Ohio since the 1950s. So there you go. We get out giant frogs.
I live in Ohio and I've never heard of this. I know Loveland.
Loveland's also not really close to us. It's over by Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know Loveland. I just don't. Never heard about this Loveland Frog, man. You're reaching pretty obscure stuff though with the Loveland Frogs. Like at least
I just
Mothman's a
just
stretch
looked up-
too.
I just looked up Western demons and mythical creatures, and
You're mostly gonna find cryptids. You're
other than-
mostly gonna find cryptids in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the Wendigo pop up. I had the Jersey Devil pop up.
And that
I had
theming,
like the flathead lake monster, which was like a ichthyosaur or something like that.
Yeah. There's also a
So we could
champion
potentially have,
or champ,
yeah, we could,
which is like Lake Champions Nessie.
yeah.
What's up?
Ooh, what if we had, since we got, the castle theme, what if we got a Monster Hunter take on like a mimic? What do you think that would possibly look like?
I'd love to find a huge treasure chest. It's just like some feathered biped like large raptor that hides in something and uses the chest as a shell.
Fair
I can
enough.
see that being like they pull like a variant on Camillus where he's more just makes his camouflage look like something.
Yeah.
I can see that being an event quest. Let you do the mine him while he's alive thing. Like, if you're willing to risk it when you knock him over, mine the
Mhm.
treasure chest and get random stuff like mega potions.
I mean, they kind of do that, like where Basarius looks like an outcropping on the older ones a lot of the time. In the new one, he's super easy to tell. But like, there used to be all these mining outcroppings out in the middle of a field, and it's like one of those is a Basarius. They did the same thing with the sand dunes with oh gosh, there's so many Monster Hunter. It's so hard to switch gears between games and then remember Nibblesnarf. Nibblesnarf had the sand dunes that looked like his fin.
And he was just...
Yeah. And the only way you could tell is he was ejecting sand out of his gills every once in a while. So, Chauncey, you were about to say, like, you were about to say something based on the theme of horror stuff, or was that about the mimic? Cryptids, maybe.
something dark side. I don't know. There was something I was thinking about earlier.
A Darth Vader monster.
It's not really
I mean,
horror. That's space opera.
Like I said, I've had some dumb ideas of like the Sharknado and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I almost kind of hope they do something really stupid like that. Just be like
Sharknado.
Get a new variant or subspecies of
Tremors.
Zamtrios.
The true final boss of this is just a Tremors worm,
Mm.
like one of the huge sand dune worms, and part of the fight, you're inside of it, fighting its digestive enzymes. And
I mean, before its final transformation in Stories 2, that's what I literally yelled out when we got our dragon in Stories 2. I was like, oh, so it's a Tremors Hell Beast. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big thing in Stories 2. I forgot about that fight.
Yeah, and then poor Guardian Ratha just gets demolished.
I mean, they had to have tension somewhere, right? Up the drama. That's what they were doing.
Drama llama.
I was like, holy shit, they're going for it. I am not okay with this.
On the idea of Sharknado, I could see them doing a new shark monster based on the fact that Jaws is like a pretty popular Western film that is a horror film.
And also bull sharks being found in freshwater.
That's just a thing. That's just nature.
I know.
Yeah.
But that led to like a lot of myths around sharks just being able to be found anywhere and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
So theoretically, we could get like a new piscine wyvern coming in.
Mega shark.
Just name Mega Shark. That'd be the best but laziest naming they could ever go with.
I think the thing I was thinking about was, I guess it would work as like Primitus, Fang Beast, kind of, humanoid-ish monsters. But like, it'd be really cool to lean into just like horror movie stuff. So give us a skull-faced gorilla monster that uses a silver bat. It's like, oh, this tree looks like silver, so it looks like Jason is attacking you. I
thought you were going with Congo to begin with. That terrible movie Congo, which we loved as kids, but
I mean, like it's frumpy, like it's silly, but
yeah,
it just seems like if we're looking at demons and stuff, and if we actually just look at horror in general, like that'd be cool. Like I'd actually love to have what are they called? Xenomorph, the alien from Aliens movies. That'd be amazing.
A xenomorph monster.
Make it just sprint around. It can go invisible. If it hits you with acid, you have to wash it off, or you just slowly die.
Just have that be what comes out of the pyramid in the flooded forest. Out of that crack in the ground where that snake snake endemic life is.
And another one, every time someone faints due to damage from it chest bursters another one.
Oh god.
That's too far. It just spawns another one.
It feels very, very off, like the theming, but it's just like the neat idea of there could just be horror things in general too.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to have like the monster version of the Predator to counteract them.
You get to be the Predator.
True.
You get to be the Predator. You do the G rank quest. And you get
because they're horror movie monsters, and the humans aren't the horror movie monsters.
See, if it's like you're just dealing with two of them turf, like basically it's Alien and Predator turf wars, and you gotta go in and kill them both. And then I don't know if you've seen one of the Alien versus Predator movies, but one of the funniest things is like there's this woman who's, I think, some military, woman worth her salt, kills an alien, and the Predator gives her an alien head as a shield against the acid, and like fashions a spear out of the tail.
That's the original Alien versus Predator.
Give us her as layered armor. Like, all right,
where they're in like Antarctica or wherever, and they have the underground ice tunnels and stuff like that lead to a frozen over pyramid. Yeah.
And then that's a lance, so you can just be like, I'm just a person who did great and against these horrible monsters.
Dang.
I'm surprised they didn't bring her back in AVP Requiem to die with the rest of the town as the government nuked it. That was such a weird take.
I did not
in
see that one.
the progress of the story.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it's dumb. Like, so you know how they have like the cliffhanger of like a chest burster /
Out of the
hybrid
predator, yeah.
alien predator coming out? Yeah, they have like a whole battle between like that creature versus like a bunch of other predators.
Mm.
And then it gets down to like the final, and then the government just nukes the whole town anyways.
Mm. Sounds terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard what I needed to hear about that for me. Like, there's tension, then everything goes boom anyway.
I'd still want a Hydra monster. Hydra's a very Western thing.
Yes.
That's always been a thing on my list. It's very Greek.
I guess if we're thinking in that thing, like if we're thinking Western as in just not Asian areas.
Oh yeah,
it'd be cool
it's
to see stuff like
clearly
Minotaurs,
European. Yeah,
Griffin. Like Griffin, there's a lot of like we've had.
What? Where are you going with Griffin here? You're on a loading. Huh?
Hypnocatrice?
Hypnocatrice is just Thanksgiving turkey. He's just a turkey.
I mean, if you just four-legged something like that, it's definitely a griffin.
Sure, yes. Because a griffin is just a bird and a horse together. And a lion. Actually, griffin's a lion and an eagle.
A lion and a bird.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking hippogriff, which is a eagle and a horse. Which was a big thing in the My Little Pony movie I saw today, was hippogriffs that turned into hippo mermaids. It's complicated.
Hydra, like you mentioned, could be potentially the environmental devastation enough to warrant the guild needing to bring in hunters from around the world.
I will be right back. I have something to show you that is relevant. I will find it, and I will be right back.
I think it has something to do with a certain monster with too many heads.
Has Cham bred a Hydra? Has he doomed us all as this idea?
I hope he didn't do that while I was playing board games today. That's a pretty rough Saturday. Ugh. No, I mean that'd be kind of cool. Like I like the flashiness. You know, in the end, I haven't really done like a whole Rise review that you guys might have done on here before. But I'll be honest, like Narwa and Ibushi is like the ta-da monsters of this game. For me, it was kind of eh.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get something like Narcocos-ish as the big ta-da of Sunbreak, I'd be a little happier. So maybe this Hydra that's so huge you're not hitting its body, you're only hitting its necks and heads as you're like on a platform. Yeah. That'd be really cool. Kind of making me think of ooh, I don't know his name. There's some ending monster that I only ever fought once because I fought it in Gen U, but he just floats.
Yamatsugami?
Probably. Yeah, the big moss
That's
one
another
with
one
the
that
human
people
teeth.
are wanting to come back.
Yep.
A lot of people are wanting him to come back as well. Additionally, I'd like to see Giginox return, because I mean, his that armor was very much like vampire / Dracula-ish looking inspired. So I think it'd be well-deserved case to bring him back as is, or have there be like a strictly vampiric version.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Sunbreak or Rise in general has always been like a weird spot for me as far as like caring about armor skills, because they're like, hey, in the course of previous games through World to Rise, every armor skill I ever focused is now irrelevant. Health up doesn't exist. Psychic auto tracker and capture guru don't exist. So the only stuff I built is just a gift now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're like talking about him. Yamatsuki, whatever.
Yeah.
Tsukami. I'm looking through the Monster Hunter art book. There is an original Monster Hunter design that does depict a Hydra-like snake monster, and I'm trying to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about Narajala. I'd love to see him again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Narajala. I would love to see him come back.
Or have like an anaconda type monster come in.
Chonkier Narajala.
Anaconda was a Western horror film that did something in the 90s. I don't know what, but it did something.
I killed J-Lo. I think she was in the movie.
Had terrible CGI.
Nowadays, in those days, it was amazing. No, it wasn't. But where is it? I thought it was pretty. I don't know.
I thought you were looking for your triple-headed kazoo drawing. I'm not really sure what you're looking for now.
No, there is an original in the Monster Hunter art books. There is a depiction of a very mummified-looking Hydra monster.
I mean, there's also the equal dragon weapon. Dun dun dun. Slap in the face to Ace.
That is
the thing that we're not supposed to talk about, but that exists in artwork.
The thing that is not a thing.
Yeah.
Holy cow. It's been a long time since I looked through this book, so I am just... Yamatsukami is listed as the gas dragon. Oh, here it is. Dragon weapon. Oh, it's really hard to see. It's on the same thing as the equal dragon weapon, but right here. Let me get it close to the camera. See that? There's a two-headed cobra.
Oh, it's like Cobra.
Yeah.
I actually think a lot of Narcocos then.
The dragon in the tomb, scientific name Crypt Hydra. It's on the first Monster Hunter Illustrations book, page 91, if people have that. And it's on the same thing as the equal dragon weapon, which, is Monster Hunter lore thing that doesn't exist. I'm trying to see if there's another... No, there's no other references to it. It's just like a single drawing.
Slush.
But yeah, this is an amazing book to look through if you ever get the chance. I haven't got the third one yet. I need to get the third one, but I have 1 and 2. Thanks to Chance, who got them for me for Christmas a couple years ago. I need to get that third
Pretty easy to buy for. Thing that says Monster Hunter doesn't have? Sold.
Go. Yep. But yeah, I would love to see the Crypt Hydra realized. Because they do pull things out of that book from time to time. I mean, there's a lot of old monsters that are in there. Hypnocatrice is in there. Lavasieth. Yamatsukami is in there quite a bit. And this book covers Generation 1 and 2. So it covers a lot of monsters. A lot of things, too. Of course, you can get into all the armor sets, designs, and stuff. But
on that note, I think it'd be kind of nice to just get Monoblos back. Tell him to free him of his offline-only shackles.
'Tis true.
Yeah. Definitely been overshadowed over the years.
Yep, I would... I'd love to get Monoblos back, even though I'm more of a Diablos fan between the two. I would really like to see Monoblos come back. Actually, as much as I love Diablos as a monster, I like Monoblos armor better. Monoblos armor looks so cool.
The red and black.
The red and black design. Not my favorite colors at all, but boy, do they look cool as armor.
Makes me think back to the first game, being like, the just standard was Monoblos head, chest, and arms, and because that's all you could have of him, it was 99.9% of people that had that had Rathalos for the other two pieces for the Tacet and the Licks.
Like, look at this. They have this crocodile that opens up like a lily pad in the water.
Oh, that's spoopy.
Yeah, there's all sorts of concepts. There's like this weird mannish Bulbasaur thing, too. Just crazy.
I was gonna say we could potentially have like a giant stick bug monster that blends in with trees and then attacks you by stomping on you or stabbing you with its legs.
Yeah.
So it's like a Lao Shan fight, but it's a walking stick.
Well, see, I was gonna say, I did come up with a version of that, having it be sort of like the Shen Garuin fight, and you have to climb up its legs to get onto its back to deal the primary damage. But on its legs are smaller Neopteron creatures that are shaped like the little thorn beetles.
Okay.
So they adorn its legs and like jab at you to knock you off its legs.
Not too different from what we have from Rachna. Rachna plays on that a little bit with its baby spiders sitting on its egg sac and that kind of stuff. But I like it. I like it a lot. Man, I forgot how good these books are. I gotta look at these again. Yeah, they had all sorts of ideas in these illustrations. Like everything from the Temnocerans to the crabs. Everything. Like you'll see some later designs in here. And some that are completely unused. Not just like what I talked about, like the Equal Dragon Weapon and the Crypt Hydra, but like, yeah, like Ant Lion Monster. It's hard to see because it's black and white. But yeah, there's all sorts of cool things.
I'd be happy to kill some more ant lions. Elden Ring has given me some serious ant lion monster bloodlust.
Right. Right.
There we go. We need the pot goblin creature in Monster Hunter. Slap it around more than I've seen people slapping it around in Elden Ring.
Oh gosh, they even have down to the original hairstyles in the games. Holy cow.
That is probably the funniest thing that got me through a boss fight in Elden Ring. There's a boss. There's a couple versions of it. The main one that we dealt with earlier on is called a Godskin Apostle.
Yeah.
Basically, like caster with like a hook blade. If you're too far away, he'll throw black flames at you. If you're up against him, he'll just swishy slashy his hook blade. Half health, he kind of does this like berserk mode, and all of a sudden his middle becomes like spaghetti, and he can do all these crazy twisty things with his middle. And I was having trouble killing him, and I couldn't kill him with some friends' help. And then I went back and fought him a couple more times, and I just was like, my mentality was, you're an average difficulty Monster Hunter monster. And then I killed him, and I was like, wait a second. This is just Monster Hunter. Anything scary that happens, I roll towards the monster, and life is fine. And that saved me through like 20 boss battles after that.
Oh, I've been watching a couple of funny clips of a Monster Hunter plays Elden Ring, and they went in like they had guts, like her or whatever the heroics. They had like no health, and they go naked up against a dragon, and it was just so hilarious. They were just punking this dragon in Elden Ring, and it was just like, holy cow. But they were like dodging the timing and doing like attacks like in Monster Hunter, like charging up, and it was just hilarious. It was a good clip. It was a good minute-long video.
It was like this awakening in my brain that I didn't realize I've been training for this since Monster Hunter 1. And like, I don't think I'm particularly fantastic at video games. Like, I'm okay. But when I realized, like, oh, this is all the same stuff, except I have a meter that gets taxed when I roll instead of just getting to roll willy-nilly.
I mean, I find it impossible impossible to believe that they were not influenced by Monster Hunter in some way, because not only did From Software partake in Monster Hunter being a Japanese company and Monster Hunter being particularly popular in Japan, also having made a Monster Hunter title themselves twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard not to be influenced by the series. Obviously, they are fans of the series, and they didn't, if they took it, maybe it's not obvious, but to me, it says they're fans of the series if they've been subcontracted to work on a side project that is literally the something Poca Poca Diary or whatever is the English name for it, but it's like the Patapon like Monster Hunter game with the cats in the village that we get, like the do 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 wah do 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 wah do do, like the not this the song, but it's the cats going wah in the middle of it. Like, they were very into the cat. They did the whole cat village thing. It was a whole. I think it got like a short anime and everything too, and they were the ones that made the game. Like, so it's nigh impossible for me to believe that they did not in some way gain some insight and influence from Monster Hunter when making any of their games. Souls, Bloodborne, even maybe not Kingsfield. I think Kingsfield may predate Monster Hunter. Maybe. I'm not sure though. Anyways, they've been around for a long time, but also has Monster Hunter. So, but I don't think we have much to say on Sunbreak anymore. I mean, we've been speculating for like an hour because there was so little. Like with such a big event, it was just like, oh, okay. I expected to make a whole episode out of this, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't there. But
yeah, we'll see as we get closer. I'm sure we'll get another event either via Monster Hunter themselves or via a Nintendo Direct or both.
Mm-hmm. I expect the next time we'll see something is probably May. I don't expect to see anything in April personally. But I think we'll probably see another drop of probably about the same amount of information in May, and then maybe something just before launch in June, and then launch. Like, I think that's the way it's going to be. And I'm actually glad for that. I would like to be surprised on monsters both returning and new in this game. Just as a content creator / podcaster, just doesn't make for a lot of content to talk about sometimes, which is, partially why we cut back to normal video games a lot of the time. And where we're kind of putting this on. It's not like we're not going to talk about Monster Hunter on the not Monster Hunter weeks, but this is where we're really going to focus on it. So yeah, next week is going to be a fun, whatever we decide, wildcard episode. And then the week after that, I believe, which I don't have my phone on me to really check the dates, but I think that is going to be our April episode. Probably. Because, yeah, next weekend's got to be the Kirby. Our April quiz, which I'm still not sold on the bad games. I feel like it's just, we may have Chance return for that one. We'll see. You want to decimate people in a quiz show again?
I think they'd be out for blood. I don't know. That's a good plan.
No, I'm gonna try to do some things to differentiate it more so. So, alrighty. Sasha had a good suggestion of like picking a bunch of games and sort of just rolling, just to figure out what games go in the quiz.
Especially if I'm involved, there is just I just know a lot of the same things you do.
It's true.
Because of life.
Yeah, we tend to like the same games. Not always, but tend to. I mean, Monster Hunter, you and I have liked the same Final Fantasies for the most part. You and I have liked a lot of the same games. The only things that were real, like I differ from you. You tend to like more of the traditional JRPG stuff at times, whereas I tend to enjoy the more FPS and action things other times. But there's a lot of crossover too. Like I'm not playing Sophie. What is it, Atelier Sophie, that you're playing?
Well, I'm probably gonna wait until. I guess at this point, Tiny Tina's is done.
Yeah.
Because I'll get that before I finish Sifu, probably.
Yeah.
Or before I'm finished with Sifu. I don't expect I'm actually finishing Sifu.
We'll see. That's for.
I'll put more time in it, but if it increases my murder rage bar like it did the first time I played it, like it's just not worth it. I can say something in the first 15 minutes and then like I'll tap out because this is supposed to be fun and that wasn't fun.
Yeah, that's for bickering bucks though. We'll cross that kung fu bridge when we need to.
And then die because the controls are bad.
All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up there tonight. A shorter episode because we didn't have as much news to talk about for Monster Hunter, or a lot of things going on in the Monster Hunter community right now. A lot of people in the Monster Hunter community are just playing Elden Ring like we have been. So, heck, even Wolfie Melon, our wonderful artist, who thank you for doing our theme song, has even got into Elden Ring. She had a really funny Twitter clip of where she was just like, play Elden Ring, you said it'd be fun, ha ha ha, and it had one of those like sentient boulders just like mowing her down. It's just like
just in case you feel like you want to play Elden Ring and you want to talk with friends about the game and you're like, this game is too hard, I strongly suggest just play Magic. Magic feels like cheating for half the game.
If you're having trouble with Elden Ring, play Magic. If you want to play at an extremely tough build in the beginning, but gets super easy to dunk bosses at the end, do what I did, which is a strength shield build. That was fun. And then I even found out for a YouTube video I had a shield that was like even better. I've been prioritizing guard boost on my shields, and then like I saw from a YouTube video, hey, you know that stat that you were really trying to maximize, that guard boost, you got to 75? Well, here's a shield that has 90. And I'm like, oh, I guess I go get that. I died a million times because it's platforming to get it, but I got it. So anyways, we'll wrap it up for tonight. This is 421. You can catch us at Hunters Hub Pod on Twitter and Twitch. And I don't want to make any promises, but hey, we're thinking about doing some more streaming here. Maybe, if we can fix the internet. Because we had a lot of internet issues coming up, specifically with trying to play co-op together on Elden Ring because of my NAT type. So that led us to possibly upgrading our internet. And when we talk about possibly upgrading my internet, I'm possibly going to talk about streaming because I've always wanted to do that, but I don't have the internet to do that. So maybe you guys can see games that aren't a slideshow from me. So we'll see. If that goes well, maybe I'll get a chip, whatever they call those, a streaming chip for Switch and stuff.
Card?
Yeah. Because I've got the rig to do it. I've got a good enough PC. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have the internet.
Live in backcountry, as it says.
Mm-hmm. But we're talking about upgrading it, so. At Ace Badger Gaming on Twitter. Also be sure to catch us on the Hunters Hub Discord. If you need join to join the Discord, it's you can tweet at us or find us in some way, and we'll let you join because it's open for all. Everyone can sit there and talk about Monster Hunter and other games that we're excited for, or all sorts of things. So be sure to join us there. And next week we'll do the wild card, and we have Bickering Bucks coming up couple weeks.
29th.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now ish. A little less than 2 weeks.
Week and a half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where we'll be talking about Sifu and see our butts kicked in Kung Fu style. And Because legit, people call Elden Ring hard. Sifu's harder. Sifu's harder.
If Elden Ring had Sifu's controls, I'd have returned it.
All right.
Okay. But they're not the same kind of game, so they're not going to have the same kind of controls. But yeah.
Play it on a dance pad or a Guitar Hero instrument.
No. That's just asking for hurt. That's just...
Is there even any of that that's compatible with PS5 at this point? Like, is that even real?
Figure it out.
Splice it in.
Yes. Hardwire it.
Play it with the Donkey Kong
Hardwire
bongos.
it into your DualSense controller.
Splice in a Connect and make it do motion capture and actually get to feel the fighting.
No thanks. I don't have enough room for that, both mentally and physically.
I have to get rid of that shelf, but I could do it.
All right. So thanks for listening and watching today, and we'll catch you guys next week. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.